You can have whatever you want to, darling. No, the world is yours. I've been up chasing the sunsets just to see.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Chad. Chad, you are young and successful. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've been in this gig for about 7 years. I have two businesses. I have an online fitness coaching business, which helps real estate professionals and entrepreneurs get healthy and fit. In addition to that, I have another business where I'm partners with somebody else where we help other online fitness coaches grow and scale their online business.
Awesome. So what inspired you to do this? Because I'm a little bit technologically challenged. And do you help people like me, or how does this work?
What inspired me to get into fitness coaching, or what inspired me to get into business?
Both. And how does it go hand in hand? Because you got two different worlds going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I chose the entrepreneur and the business niche in terms of my fitness coaching business because my dad and grandpa were both entrepreneurs. They both ignored their health and fitness. My grandpa passed away early, but he was a really good entrepreneur. He was accredited for bringing Altoids over from Europe to America, and he's in the Candy Hall of Fame if you want to look him up, John B. Molyneux. And yeah, really cool. And my dad also was a business owner, but he got diagnosed with heart disease a couple years ago. Same thing, ignored his health. So that's what inspired me to get into health and fitness and help the entrepreneur and the business world get healthy and fit because they're busy, right? They're busy. They ignore their health and fitness, and I got to see it firsthand.
That's a great story. So are you worried about your genetics, and that's kind of what helped because the heart disease stuff runs in your family? Or like, oh my gosh, I better make sure that I nip this in the bud early?
I think what it really is, if you want to get deep into it, when I was younger and I was like 15, I saw the complications of my grandpa and my dad. And I'm not allowed to swear, am I?
You can't. I mean, yeah, you're welcome to do whatever.
Okay, I'll swear low key. It made me feel like crap. Okay, it made me feel a little bit neglected. Because I mean, who doesn't want their dad around a long time, right? Who doesn't want their grandpa around a long time? So that inspired the spark for me to get into health and fitness and make sure, like you said, that I set up my future for success and health.
Chad, I don't know how old you are, but growing up for me, we had very basic PE. I never got trained weightlifting. I had to learn all of that on my own as I became a trainer, and I feel like I started from square one. Nowadays, kids are getting taught very well. Besides the internet, they're getting taught better at school how to weightlift. How was it for you? I mean, did you start with zero and you had to teach yourself everything, or did you have a foundation as far as fitness goes?
Yeah, I basically taught myself everything. So I was really into lacrosse when I was younger, and my dad saw that I was into lacrosse, so he bought me. My dad, obviously, like I said, was not into health and fitness, so he bought me what he thought was good equipment. It was just, one singular jump rope, an agility ladder, and some really old dumbbells.
I love it.
So yeah, I went on YouTube. I figured out how to use all that stuff. I fell in love with it. But we grew up in a relatively wealthy neighborhood, so we did have access to really good coaches at our high school and other schools. So I was brought up by some pretty good mentors in the health and fitness realm.
That's good. Yeah, I started about 21 when I really met all the good people like Billy Blanks and everything. But I know right now, I see people, they're learning deadlifts in high school, and I had nothing like that. So I just wondered if you had any type of, I knew you weren't getting it at home, so I'm like, were you getting a little bit at school?
Yeah, definitely at school. Our sports team had a head strength and conditioning coach, and he was one of the head strength and conditioning coach for the New York Jets. So we had really good coaches.
Oh, you got an expert. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But anyways, how I got into the business coaching side of things, found a mentor. He taught me the business side of things. I was able to grow. We now have a team of 9 that runs the business, and then I get to play quote unquote CEO. My bigger passion is actually in business. I love business. So I met somebody down here in Austin who also loves business. We partnered up, and now we help other fitness coaches grow and scale their business.
Oh my gosh, Chad, you're just like me. I love business and I love fitness. Those are my 2 favorite things. And you combine it into one. Do you actually train people hands-on at all, or is it all with your business? You used to.
Yeah, I used to do in-person training. I used to do one-to-one, semi-private, big group, and then I moved into the online realm.
And so you like it here. Well, now it's great because we can't really do any hands-on stuff anymore.
Yeah, COVID has really helped. Honestly, I think this is where the industry is going. I just got off a call with somebody today who works at Lifetime, big corporate, and they're starting to move into the online realm. They're creating an online realm. I know Gold's Gym is creating their own online platform as well. I do think in the next 5-10 years that this is where the industry is going to go.
How motivating do you think people will stay? I mean, me personally, I don't know how you are when you work out, but when there's more people around or whatever, I feel like I'm always scrutinized. There's always eyes on me because I'm a trainer. Do people feel that motivation by themselves when they don't have other people around watching them and seeing that they're doing it correctly? Because you have a great success rate. How do you know that how do you keep them accountable?
Yeah, I think that's case dependent. So we actually have 3 different packages. We have our Elite package, our Transformation package, and our Accelerate package. So if you're signing up for the Elite package, it's daily accountability. The coach has to text you in the morning, what time you're working out, and then in the evening they have to text their client again, and the client has to submit their food log. Transformation program, 2 to 3 times a week accountability. 1 accountability call, and then coach reaches out 2 additional times to make sure they're doing well. The Accelerate package is for people that need lesser accountability. There's only 1 check-in for that one per week. So the way that we run our sales process is we ask them what they need, and then we move from there. Okay, cool. You're a better fit for the Elite, the Transformation, or the Accelerate.
So people that are kind of fitness already, they're already fitness forward, they just want a little bit of guidance, they would get that other package where you just check in once a week.
Correct. Yeah, that would be people for like myself who doesn't need a lot.
Right, and no, I love that you have different levels like that because you're so on it. Everybody does have different levels. You can't treat everybody the same because everybody's at a different level. So I like that a lot. Where can we go to find all the information and apply and get like a little program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm on every social media platform. If you search on LinkedIn, you'll find me at the Health and Well Blueprint. If you go on Instagram, you'll find me at _FitCEO. On Facebook, it's just my name, Chad Molyneux, which is right there. YouTube, you'll find us at the Health and Well Blueprint. Can you submit a link, or is this only live?
We'll do a link too. Don't worry about it. Yeah, like give me a link and we'll put it up. Link. Yeah, that's what we want.
Go. Let's put it up.
We want to get all linked out. So you're on every social media platform. Do you have a YouTube channel where we can do you ever show us some daily workouts just for the public that we could do?
Yeah, if you go to the Health and Well Blueprint, that's our fitness YouTube channel. If you just search Chad Molyneux, that's my business coaching YouTube channel. We are on all social media.
That's how you got to be. So there's that aspect, but now you're helping people that create a startup business and give them a little bit of guidance. Yep. Tell us about that business.
Yeah, absolutely. So that business has multiple tiers as well. We have our mastery program, which is for individuals who already have a bunch of clients, but now they want to start growing and scaling a business by hiring out. And then we have our apprenticeship program for people who need a sales system, need a marketing system, need a client delivery system, and really just trying to get their first handful of clients.
So is that levels kind of like the fitness too, or depends on a level of business? What if a business has been around for a while, but they want a little bit of help? Because I know a lot of people are like me. We're just like, not super tech savvy, but people have a business model that's worked their whole life, but now they have to get into tech. Do you also have different levels for that?
Yeah, so that would also coincide with the apprenticeship and the mastery. So an individual who may have an experienced business in person, right, but doesn't even know the online realm, we would put them through the apprenticeship program first.
Okay, so you got all those old good business people, and you're like, here's a crash course. I'm sure you get that, right?
Come on.
There's a lot.
Yeah, we do have a few people that are on, I guess, what you would call the older side. I wouldn't call them old, though.
No, that's great. So what made you start all that? How are you good at business? I know you saw it, you got it firsthand, you gained it from your grandfather, you gained it from your dad. How did you know, hey, I have an eye for business, I'm pretty good at it, these models are working? When did that you get the aha moment that this is where I belong?
That's a really good question. I think within the first 2 years, I knew that I wanted to get into business coaching, but I didn't feel integral moving into business coaching without scaling out my fitness business first. So that's what inspired me to, build the team of 9 to run the business, where I sit back, I can remove myself from the business and now teach other people. But how did I get good at business? I hired other mentors. I've had like 4 or 5 different mentors prior to me becoming a mentor.
That's so awesome. So do you have a lot of different branding tools as well? Do you help with that? Because you help with the media. Do you help a lot of people? They have a brand now, or they're like, hey, should I get some t-shirts to brand? What kind of advice can we go? Do you have it set up where I could just ask you any question I want, and what program would that be?
Yeah, so I think that individuals, especially beginners online, think, okay, cool, I need a logo, I need the website,
Right.
I need this, I need that. And at the end of the day, what they're expecting out of that is for people to come knocking at their door, right? They're going to start making all this pretty stuff. People are going to come knocking at their door. More times than not, unless they already have a really cult following, it doesn't really work for them, right? So that individual, what I would say is, great, yeah, get the branding, right? But now you need to have an actual sales system where you can put yourself out there, generate a lead, and then convert that lead. So I don't think that the branding side of things brings people in. I think it builds trust, but I think ideally that person would need to learn a sales system.
How much can we talk to you? So, like, let's say I have a budget. Let's say I want to start a business. I have 5,000 or I have 10,000. I come to you. I said, this is my budget. This is what I want. Will you say, no, that's not even enough? Or say, okay, we'll work with this. It's going to take longer to grow, but that we could do that. How much can I really get access to you or one of your people to give me advice?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in our mastery program, you get more hands-on with me and my business partner, which is Dayla. That's where you're going to get most of our attention. You get us for an hour a week on a call. Into that, you get our private cell phone numbers. You can text us as much as you want. And then you get our course, which has all of the material. It's self-guided, all information that me and Dayla built. The apprenticeship program is going to be a little bit less of us, but we've hired assistant coaches to facilitate all of the content and learning in there.
Is that questions I can come and ask you and say, hey, I have this budget, like if I'm just starting ground up, I want all of your advice. Will you really take me step by step and walk me through it and be like, okay, that's enough, now spend this much? No, you're spending too much on that. Because I owned a really successful business, but spent way too much on a website I shouldn't have years ago.
Yeah.
Would you be able to give that advice
that
and say that's a waste? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of a budget, though, the beauty about online is there's such low overhead. You don't really have expenses. You can start with nothing, honestly, because the sales strategy that we deploy is you're leveraging free content, right? People are liking and commenting on your free content. You're answering them and having a conversation with them in the DMs. You book a phone call appointment, you close a deal. That didn't cost you anything but your time. Didn't cost you any money for advertising. That's just a free organic lead. You just have to have the skill of bringing that lead in and closing the deal. Now, if you're talking about the mastery program, once you've learned how to generate leads organically, now we could put paid traffic behind that and start scaling it out.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay. So you take it to different levels. But it's for every business, right? We can come to you for everything, or is it just the online portion of the business?
Just online fitness coaching. We're very niched.
Okay. And that's for your business as well. Like for anybody starting at any level of business, they can come to you and it's the same advice.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because you have two different businesses. You have the fitness business, and then you have online business coaching. So
two completely separate entities.
So the online, just for the online business thing, so if I start a business of something and I come to you with different things, will you help me in the same way that you would help me, like for say your fitness business?
Like, are you asking if you were like a online like candle shop? Could we help you?
Or activewear line, because I have a lot of friends that are like activewear lines. They're doing that.
Yeah, so we try to keep it down to just the coaching. I really do believe in ideal clients and niching down, because I think that's what separates you from the rest of the pack, right? If I was just your run-of-the-mill business coach, right, why would anybody just want to come to me? But if I had a specific thing, right? It makes me stand out amongst the rest. That's why we chose to help only real estate professionals and entrepreneurs get healthy and fit, right? Because most fitness coaches, they go down the general, hey, we're going to help the general population lose weight. I might become a small fish in a really large ocean. But I separated myself out. I only help this target market. There's not many other coaches that help real estate professionals, so I become the immediate solution. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. And so what got you passionate about helping real estate professionals?
Oh, my grandpa and my dad. The real estate professionals, it started out as just helping entrepreneurs, right? As that inspiration from my dad and my grandpa. But what we realized over time is we naturally attracted real estate professionals. And the cool thing about them is they have coaches in the real estate realm, so they understand coaching and they make really, really great clients.
That's a good point, that they would understand all that. What about time? I think you probably hear a lot of the same excuses I hear, and I would imagine for that the biggest excuse would be time. What do you tell people that give you that excuse?
Yeah, so we agree with them, and then we create a plan that fits their lifestyle. So there's 3 questions that we identify in our orientation process before we make their plan. Number 1, can they be more consistent at home or a gym, right? Some people can't make that commute. Number 2, how many days a week can you work out? Is it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days? What's realistic for your schedule? And then 3, how long can you work out? 15, 25 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, 45 to 60 minutes. What makes most sense? They tell us, give us that data, and then we make the plan accordingly.
So are these programs a month to month or week to week? How often would I pay you if I wanted you to be my coach for everything?
Yeah. So you're paying for a package in terms of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year. But all the workouts are periodized. So they're changing on mesocycles. They're changing every month.
And
so you're paying for your package.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What about freezing? Because at gyms you can freeze your membership. What if I'm going to go to Europe for a month and I'm just like, I'm going to do whatever I want for a month. Can I kind of freeze it and then go back the next month?
Yeah, you can't put a pause on your health and fitness. So we use that as an opportunity. Oh, great, you're on vacation. Cool.
Okay.
Hey, you want to be healthy? You want to be healthy as a lifestyle? You're going to have to learn how to get fit on your vacation, right? So we use it as a learning opportunity.
So you really adjust it according to if they're in Europe and they're walking, or tell them to track their steps and different things like that. You actually guide them through all that?
Absolutely.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
the
pretty
online
cool.
realm. Everyone says the online realm, you can't be connected, but I swear you are extremely connected.
I love it. How long have you been doing this? How long did you do the fitness and then you did the real estate professional?
Yeah, so I'm going on year 7. I've done it for 6 years. I got to the point where I outsourced my business right at the end of year 6, and then I moved into the business coaching, and that's what's been happening for the past year.
It's strictly the business coaching.
Well, no, both. I still own both businesses.
That just seems like so much work. And so you have a whole team of people helping you, and a good team. How do you pick your team?
Yeah. Oh man, trial and error. Yeah,
you got some really good ones. Processes. How do people come to you? Do they like you, and then you're like, hey, you got something to bring to the table. Would you like to come on the team? Is that kind of what happened a little bit?
One of our employees was an old business client. He tried to run his own business, but he decided that he'd rather be an employee. He's kick-ass. Others were referrals. Most of them were just referrals from friends and people I knew. But I've had some bad employees. I've had to fire people. It's not my favorite thing to do in the world. Yeah, but no, it's a lot to manage people. But I do have really good help, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Well, yeah, you're the king of telling people, getting them on a program and training them. So I imagine you find out fairly quickly if people can handle it or not.
Yeah, you could tell pretty immediately. Yeah, unless they're a good liar.
Do you worry about people kind of taking over and doing what you're doing on their level? How do you avoid, because I used to make people sign a clause when I kind of brought them in, like a non-competition clause, that they wouldn't be doing that? Okay.
Yeah, we have non-competes and non-disclosures. I've only had one employee leave to go start his own thing. I have no idea how he's doing, but I wished him the best, and I said, you're more than welcome. I will sign off on the NDA and the non-disclosure and the non-compete, and I let him run his own business. But honestly, it doesn't bother me.
Right. Well, I mean, you know what goes into it, and it takes a long, you don't get successful or nice. You're probably like, it's going to take a while regardless.
Yeah, and who am I to hold somebody back if they want to do something, Like if he wants to run his own business, who am I to say he can't?
So what's the biggest obstacle of stuff that you've come across and like people that are getting these packages? What's the biggest question you've come across?
In fitness or business?
We'll go one of each.
Let's do business first. Our biggest question or challenge would be the individual thinking they're not worthy or they're not qualified in to grow a business. And that usually comes from the female crowd. From the male crowd, it's usually stubbornness and they feel like they don't need help from anybody else.
Oh my gosh, I could see it. That's such a good point. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. On the fitness side of things, it's hard to say because I haven't been into the coaching in a long time, right? We have other assistant coaches that facilitate the coaching. But I would assume that it's probably most of what the challenges are that we're trying to solve. It's probably time. It's probably accountability. It's probably consistency. Your most common challenges, I think, stay pretty true, are pretty much the staples.
Right. Well, how much of a staff do you have? Or is that a personal question for each division? Do you have somebody that bounces between both like you do?
We have one member that works in both businesses. He is the head of sales in my fitness business, and then he is one of the assistant coaches in the business coaching business and helps some of our other members out as well. So there's a staff of 9 in the fitness coaching, and then there's a staff of 5 in the business coaching.
And so if somebody wanted to get your personal attention, that's got to be really hard at this point, right?
No, I talk to a lot of them. I like being involved. I am honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, Sparkle. I'm probably a micromanager. I like to make sure everything's good.
And I like that. I mean, as an employee, no, but if I wanted to get, your stuff, I'd like that.
Yeah. I make sure people get their job done. I make sure that they're hitting their targets, but I think I'm also very fair. And I also think that I think I'm a nice boss, but who knows?
Do you get a lot of silly questions? As a trainer, I get a lot of hey, does the shake weight work? Or is it a waste? Is it a scam? Do you get a lot of weird questions like that?
Yeah, I hate all of those questions. Like, what time of day should I work out? Or, if I eat after 8 o'clock, am I going to gain 10 pounds? Or oh my God. Should I only eat chicken and broccoli? That's probably my least favorite. Am I allowed to have a cookie? Yeah, that stuff really bothers me. Carbs. Oh my God, that one really gets to me. When people say that carbs are the enemy. And they don't understand that carbs are our body's preferred energy source. They don't understand that the amount of carbs you consume should be relevant to the amount of activity that you're doing in the day. That stuff bothers me for sure.
So with a lot of your fitness plans, how do you organize a meal plan according to do you do it towards their body type? Is there a generic one? How does that all work? I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions. I'm very fascinated.
No, I like it. I'm not a huge fan of meal plans per se, saying, hey, you should only have this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Because what happens, right? That client then develops, hey, I should only have this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So when they leave our program, right, maybe they think they can only have those things and they pigeonhole themselves. We believe in more of an approach that's calories and macronutrients, right? This is how many calories you need to consume if you want to lose weight, right? This is how many protein, carbs, and fat you need to consume if you want to hit your targets. And then from there, we can make adjustments, but we also have a rule that we live by, which is called our 80-20 rule. 80% of that caloric makeup should be healthy foods, while 20% of your calories could be F off food or, enjoy yourself food.
That's so me. We're on the same page. Okay, this is good.
Yeah. So I'm not a big believer in breakfast, lunch, dinner. You must only eat this because I think it's really restrictive. I like a more flexible approach. Calories, macros. Most of the time eat this. Some of the time enjoy yourself.
What do you tell people about alcohol? Because I get this all the time. A lot of my clients are older that I have, and they'll be very healthy eating, and then I realize they're drinking a bottle of wine every night. They're 78 years old. Wow. But
yeah, sounds fun.
what do you tell people about their alcohol consumption?
Yeah. So obviously the frequency of it should definitely not be every night, right? I mean, the frequency should be reduced, but I think that also falls into the category of the 80-20, right? 20% of your calories, if you want to have a glass of wine or two, sure, but hold yourself accountable for it. Yeah. Track it. Make sure you're still hitting your calories, your protein, carbs, and fat. And in theory, you should still lose weight. Obviously it's not the best thing for your health, but I think you should enjoy yourself. At least I try to.
So, you brought about losing your father. I'm sorry, I lost my father when I was young too.
I didn't lose my father. I lost my grandpa.
Your grandpa. What?
Yeah.
So your dad's good, but he's still like on the unhealthy side.
Yeah, he's got diagnosed with heart disease, but he's working on it.
So is he doing your program?
No, he's not doing my program. He's way too stubborn for that. I've been telling him since I was the young age of 15 that he needs to get healthy and fit, and get away from me, son. So
I love your honesty. What about your grandpa?
Yeah.
What advice would you go back in time if you could give him that advice about?
I don't even know if I would give him advice. I just want to have a conversation with him, right? He's in the Candy Hall of Fame. He's the guy who brought Altoids from Europe to America. I would want to pick his brain. He passed away when I was 15, so he doesn't even know that I have this business. He doesn't know anything like that. I would love to pick his brain. That's
so cool. Wow, that's got to be really something motivating you your whole life. You aspired to kind of have that level of success.
Oh, yeah. I'm highly motivated to pass him. That's my goal.
What does your dad think about all of this?
I'll be honest again. I think he's a little shocked. I think he's a little taken back by it. I think he might not like the fact that his son has surpassed him in some essence, but it's also brought us closer. So it's a very two-sided answer, but that's my answer.
So what's one of the things that really irritates you when you see with people trying to get fit? Is it really their self-doubt? What's one of the biggest things that you're just like, you want to shake people and be like, no, don't say that or do this?
The fact that they think they have to be so strict and like it has to be done this way. Like I can only eat chicken and broccoli. I can only, work out at 5 a.m. and do fasted cardio. Like I feel like people are just so under the notion that it has to be done this way. If they veer off even a little bit, they're going to lose all their results. I wish people just changed their mindset and were a little more fluid with it, right? Because I've been working out for 10 years now. I still eat pizza, right? I can miss a workout. Doesn't mean I'm going to lose all my gains, but I'm not treating it as if I'm a professional athlete. And I think a lot of people trying to lose weight treat it as such. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Do you find that people are pretty honest with you, or do you see sometimes people not having the results and then you're like, did you cheat here? Because I find that sometimes with my clients, and it's like, they're saying they're doing X, Y, Z, and you're like, something sounds a little fishy. That's how I found out that one person was drinking the wine every night. Do you feel that way, that sometimes there's deception?
I think honesty is replicated. So just like I'm being honest with you guys on this call, I think that if you're honest with somebody, they will be honest back, right? So if a client isn't doing well and you just say, hey, look, man, I know you're just not doing what you're saying you're doing. I think at that point they would open up. So I think the coach's honesty reflects the client's honesty.
Well, that's good. So we're going to go to all of your Twitter, Facebook, YouTube channel. Where's the most relevant when you come out with something every week as far as like a new fitness tip or a new diet? Where should we be looking for that?
Facebook. My personal Facebook page is probably the most poppin' in terms of fitness content. In terms of business content, it's going to be my Instagram, which is _FitCEO. My Facebook is just my name.
Okay. And then what about, did you do bodybuilding competitions or any type of competitions like that during your career?
I did a men's physique show one time. I was very into it, but I haven't done one since.
Really? Just one time?
So, just one time. And I think the reason I probably will never do one again is because I know how hard it is, and my main focus is business. And I know that it would detract from business. So I probably won't do one.
I want to ask you, if it's too personal, don't answer, but do a lot of people come, because I'm in this industry and a lot of people that are competing, they're using steroids, they're using all kinds of things. Do you get people asking you advice about that? And how can you even help them if they're doing something like that? Do you say, that's not my cup of tea, so don't even talk to me about it? Or do you tell people the risks? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I don't get our clientele being real estate professionals and entrepreneurs. They don't really care about their looks per se. They care more. Yeah, they care more about, being there for their kids and longevity and just feeling good. So I'm definitely not the source for that kind of stuff. I have friends who are bodybuilding competing coaches. They help other
Okay.
people who want to compete in bodybuilding, and they're great resources for that stuff. Me, not so much.
Okay, so they're the ones that can give the advice. Well, you can do this, but this will happen or that will happen. Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, that's good because there's somebody for everybody and all of that. Who's been your biggest inspiration out of everything that when you're looking for advice or fit tips, who do you go to?
I'm going to give, not for fit tips, but I'm going to give it for just life in general. I really like Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is probably my favorite influencer per se.
And what's the
Do you know
next?
who Grant? Do you know who Grant is?
I've heard of Grant actually, and it's so funny you bring that up. Actually, I heard somebody go on and on about Grant, and I just found out like a year ago. Just like
You used to live, where you guys live, LA?
Yeah, that was. I'm with the LA Fitness and then the whole Central California fitness realm. Are you mainly? You live in Texas now, right?
Austin. Yeah, Austin, Texas.
But did you always live in Texas, or did you come from?
No, I live in Connecticut, East Coast.
East Coast. So how do you feel it's a little
Yeah.
bit different, the fitness in New York? I love the fitness in New York people. That's a really good scene as well. How do you feel it differs?
I think the East Coast people are very hard-nosed. They're no BS. They're very straight to the point. They're very honest. Maybe that's why I'm really honest. And I think Austin's just good vibes. I feel like it's just laid-back people, just good vibes. I don't think it differs too much, though, to be honest.
Well, I noticed a little bit, like, speaking of New York and the East Coast, they're very kind of set. And I feel like California is a little more, they're more changing. They're like, oh, we'll try this and that. And New York is a little bit more like, no, this is how we do it. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think West Coast is more proactive. I think East Coast is definitely like rigid, stubborn, stuck in their ways. Yeah, I could agree with that.
What about Grant Cardone? Does he know who you are?
No, he doesn't know who I am. I wish he did. Can you help me?
Oh, you're giving me way too much credit, Chad. So I don't want to ask like a campy question, like where you see yourself in 5 years, but what's kind of the next big task for you? Because I feel like there's only going to be more to come from you.
Yeah, I would agree. I appreciate that. I think I'm really focused on growing and continuing to grow the business coaching side of things. I think there's going to be a lot that comes out of that. Moving forward, I really, really am attracted to getting into real estate, and I can see myself moving into real estate later on down the road. But yeah, no, I think I'm the type of person that's really heavily focused on what I'm doing right now.
Well, awesome. We can't wait to check everything out that you got going on. You're going to give us a way that we can follow you and always keep up with Chad.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chad.
She's in our eyes.
Look at her!
There's been horrible deeds unto her.
Lucy. Forgive me. That's a young woman.
Has he seen her? No one has. She went missing.
John, it's definitely the work of a deranged mind.
Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Detective Inspector Isaac Bird from Whitehaven. The body, which was found on the north side this morning, has been identified.
What have they done with her?
they're stronger. In numbers, they're cunning, manipulative. But when Judgment Day comes, and I now know it will, their numbers won't help them, and I'll be waiting.
You were so certain that he was the killer. What's changed?
Lucy.
I want to hold her. It's her.
I'm going to ask you to think this through, Maggie. If you want to see justice served, you need to tell the truth.
Whatever happens, I love you.
He could quite easily walk free from that cell.
Whatever happens.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Mark Allen Pilgrim. Mark, I'm so happy to finally have you on. You just got done with the Ballad of Lucy Sands. I want to hear about it.
Just got done, absolutely. We've still got a little way to go. In actual fact, the cast and crew, as we speak, are up in Cumbria now doing some more work on it because the film has been delayed because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic. We would have been all done and dusted by Easter, but it all kicked off over here in, I believe it was March. So yeah, they're up there, and I've got some more to do down here in Cornwall. It'll be here in Bodmin, it'll be at the Boscawen Junction, the steam railway, and it'll also be, as far as I know, it'll be down at Flambards. So yeah, it's more or less done. It's more or less done. Whether or not we make the release date that we wanted, I don't know. It's, that's in the lap of the gods, but let's hope so.
What's the transition from theater to film? I mean, that's got to be a big transition. And you've been a stage performer forever. Tell us about your stage performance life.
Well, I trained for the stage. I trained the classical way. I know all the different the different methods and the comedy and I can't think of the word. The different genres, the different types of theatre. Yeah. Greek tragedy, Shakespeare. That's what I'm trying to get. It's late here. It's midnight.
We so appreciate you being on the show.
To the stage, when I go on stage, it seemed for a while that my strength was in comedy. I'm quite. I could do a lot of delivery with funny stories. One of the best ones I've done is Arsenic and Old Lace, which is a classic. American play, Joseph Kettering wrote that, and other than that, it's been like the high dramas. It's been the Brecht and Shakespeare and Tennessee Williams and Agatha Christie and all them kind of things, and that it seems to be where I belong. I even done something one time at the London Palladium. It was called Life on Earth, and it was all about this coach crash. And all these people had died in this coach, and what they had to do was they had to convince the angels that it wasn't their time yet, and they deserved another chance to live on, live their life.
What a fun character! Wow.
Yeah, that was really good. More recently, I seem to have got into a lot of smaller venues, dinner theatre. And dinner theatre is quite big over in the States, but it's not such a big thing here. But the great thing about dinner theatre is it's intimate. You know, you only get an audience of maybe 100 people, but they come in and they have a meal, and then they have a drink, glug, glug, glug. And then before you know it, you go out on stage and you tell them a story. And the great thing about it is it's so intimate. The people at the back of the room, you can see their eyes. And as an actor, you're not used to that somewhere like a Chichester Festival Theatre or the Liverpool Playhouse or the London Palladium, where you've got these huge, vast spaces. You know, as an actor, you suddenly realise you've got to change your performance because you know full well they can see your eyes. And up until that point, I'd been told quite a few times by other actors, they'd say to me, this is on the stage or during rehearsals, they'd say to me, Mark, I believe everything you're saying because it's in your eyes. You act with your eyes. And I thought, okay, well, I've got to work with that. I've got to practice with that. So when I started doing these things that were dinner theatre, I started to actually work more with a mirror and work more with punctuating certain words with certain looks, certain glances. You know, my eyes can go from blazing impatience to dancing laughter. You know, I've got quite expressive eyes. And I never really realised that until somebody told me. And one of the great things about doing that was I got the opportunity to play things that were, first and foremost, never been done before.
Like what?
So one of the things I've done was called The Amazon. It was all about it was all about the Mary Celeste. It was about not the ancestors, the descendants of the people that owned the Mary Celeste, because the Mary Celeste, when she was originally launched, was actually called the Amazon. You know, and people don't know that, so that was like a twist at the end of this show. And I played a villain. And it's about the only time I've ever played a villain, which was great. And I was this waiter. And I'm alone on this boat, and I get found by the Royal Navy. And they're saying, why are you drunk on this boat, in charge of the boat, and there's nobody else here? And I said, well, I'm not drunk. I've never drunk in my life. And I convinced them. And I go through this whole story. Yeah, I go through this whole story about what actually happened. And I worked for this particular bloke. His name was Charles Briggs, Sir Charles Briggs. And he had... he'd invited these special guests onto this boat. It was a shipping magnate and a boat builder and somebody else. And he convinced this Royal Navy officer that he didn't know what happened to these people. And then the Royal Navy officer says, well, you know, this Charles Briggs, who is he? Where is he? I say, well, he's dead. He's been dead for 6 months. You know, and the whole point of this thing was to get these guests on this boat so they could have his will read by the solicitor by a tele link, like a satellite link. And there's all these good things, and everything goes fine. The Royal Navy say, right, okay, well, secure everything. We're going to tow you back to Pol. So it's okay, fine. And they walk out, and there and then I have to change. And I go, oh, there's another question like I've bloody had enough. And where I've said my name's Watkins, I call out for Watkins. And Watkins is another person who's a butler who crawls out of this cupboard. And he says, what do you want, Sir Charles? And then the second act was what really happened. And I basically murdered these people. And it was a really great story. And there's one more.
What I want to know, Mark, is about how did you get the role in the Ballad of Lucy Sands? How did you go from doing all this theater and then now all of a sudden you're doing film? How did that come about? That was just luck. It was being in the right place at the right time. When Steve Baldwin, who is the writer, who's researched the story, he's written the scripts, and he's basically gone on to make a film, he put a call out, of all places, he put a call out on Facebook saying, oh, if there's anyone near Bodmin who can come to the steam railway station and play out, you know, in like
in a Victorian crowd scene because I'm telling the story of Lucy Sands. Now, this station, it isn't the mainline station for Bodmin or for that matter for Cornwall. It's literally 5 minutes walk from my house.
Wow.
I walk past it every other day with the dog, and I thought, well, that'll be easy enough. I've got I could just play Wyatt Earp. It was literally when I just finished doing the thing of Wyatt Earp.
Were you guys friends on Facebook, or was it like a group thing? Were you guys friends?
I'd never heard of him. I'd never ever heard of him, and it was, he put the call out in it was a Devon and Cornwall group for
okay, nice,
that kind of thing. Just them two counties. So I introduced myself to him and I wrote to him and I said, yeah, I can do this. And I think one thing led to another and he ended up giving me this particular part. And this particular part, the guy I play is actually, he's not a villain. He's not the guy who did it, but he's actually more the guy who tried to get justice for Lucy, you know, for this girl that was murdered. He's a bit like Wyatt in the sense he's a straight up lawman. He doesn't suffer fools, and he's loved by the flock but hated by the wolves. You know, he don't stand for any nonsense. And it was like, I can do that.
That's fun character. You get the best characters, Mark.
I do. I'm getting really lucky. I am getting lucky. I'm getting to do things.
And this is a big character for the movie. So for never doing film work, I mean, how did you go from being a huge integral role?
I mean, I have made some films. I've just never finished. That's the crunch with independent films. I mean, you know how many films, for every film that you'll get in a theatre or in on a video, you know, for every one that you see, there's 10 that either don't finish or don't get distributed.
I understand. It's the life of an artist. Same with like when you write or paint, or we're only seeing a small part of what you actually have created. I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the thing with Lucy is it's an ensemble cast. We haven't got big stars in it. There's nobody in it that anybody actually knows. Yeah, it's not like we've got, you know, I don't know, Hugh Grant or, you know, John Hannah or anyone like that. There's literally nobody in it in that sense. Everybody, pretty much everybody. I mean, there's a lot of youngsters. There's a lot of, like, you know, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 8-year-olds. There's a lot of children, but there's also a lot of actors who are seasoned stage actors, and they have done maybe extra work on things like, if you've ever heard of something like Poldark or Doc Martin.
Oh, okay.
You know, Doctor Who. I think we've even got somebody who's done Doctor Who. You know, but it is an ensemble cast, and that's the interesting thing about it, because everybody. It seems to me, when I saw the original script, it seems to have evolved because Steve has cast certain people, and as he's got to know them, he's actually sort of written it or rewritten it because he knows, well, I think so and so will do it like this, so I'll change that. And he's quite a clever writer in that sense. He's really writing for the people on the stage, and not on the stage, on the film, but. But
how do you feel about movies? Like, I mean, when you're doing it, are you like, oh, I like this better than doing plays because of this? Do you like getting to do multiple takes? What's the perks and the negatives versus stage and versus movie? I think everybody knows.
Sparkle.
Come on.
You can't. I can't quite put the finger on it, but it is a completely different beast. It really is a different beast. I mean, nothing compares. For me, when you're doing a film, the only audience you've got are the crew and those people who are in the scene with you and the people that are extras, and that's it. Whereas when you do a play, when you do something on stage, you've got an audience that's actually, basically they've paid to see you perform.
Right.
Whereas when you do a film, you're performing each take over and over and over again, and there's little nuances that, because you're doing it again and again and again, there are points where you suddenly think, I wish I'd done that the first time. That was, you know, you've rehearsed it at home, and you sort of get that point where all of a sudden it fits, and you'll never get that moment again. Whereas on stage, because you rehearse it so many times before you even go in front of an audience,
right,
you've already found that point. 9 times out of 10, when you make a film with what's happened with this and with, like I say, other films that I've done, what happens is you don't really get much time to rehearse it.
right.
So you're almost rehearsing it in front of the camera. So there's little points where you're at home and you've got your pages and you're staring at a wall and you're sort of thinking, well, so-and-so's this tall. So you put a mark on the wall so you know where your eyeline's got to be, or a mirror or wherever you're going to do it. I'll borrow my son, I'll say to my son, no, can you stand there and just go, and do this?
I'm sure you've driven your family crazy,
Yeah.
Mark. That,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But
another thing, the life of the artist.
yeah, when you do it at home, 9 times out of 10, you're on your own. So you're literally playing the rest of it in your mind. So you know the whole thing anyway. You know it
Right.
like you would with going on stage. You have to know everybody else's lines. You have to know the whole scene from start to finish, or the whole thing from start to finish. But if you're playing it with somebody that you've never met, when you get on the set with them, you sort of drag them aside and say, let's run through this and try and find what those moments are that really work, because you know the words, you know what you're going to say, you know how you've got to time it. And you like what I was saying about my eyes, I'll use my eyes and things like that. And it's totally different. I can't compare the two. I really can't. I can compare them for performance, but I can't compare them for experience, because the experience is completely different. For a start, you're doing things over and over again. And
Right.
I mean, with this, the things that have happened with the Ballad of Lucy Sands, that some of the connections we've got are unbelievable. They really are. I mean, we were filming up, as I say, they're in Cumbria at the moment filming, but because it's where it happened. But last year we was up there in October, and we filmed at the church, at a place called St John's Church in Workington, and we filmed her funeral. And we had all these lovely people there, all from Workington, from the town. And there was children, they all had the ill-fitting clothes, and their chaperones were their parents and school teachers and all that. And we had to play this scene, which was basically the funeral of Lucy Sands, this murder victim. And we're playing this scene, and yet we all know, or most of us knew, that this church is actually where this funeral took place. We had an actor called Simon who was playing, I said this wrong last time, I said Paisley, Reverend Foley. And he was reciting the words that was actually said at Lucy's funeral, that Steve had found out from all this research. And it was really, really powerful. It was a really powerful scene to do. But here's the thing. The girl, this murder victim, is in the graveyard outside this church. And as an actor, you sit there and you know that, and you come to realise that, and you have to sort of, you can't make it any more realistic than that.
This is supposed to be
because
a
the performance
biography.
is already about you trying. Sorry?
This is a biography?
It's a true story. It's a murder. It's this young girl that was murdered, and the case was never legally was never solved.
Wow.
She never had justice.
I'm
Most of these
so
murders-
excited to see this.
Yeah.
When do you think people when do you think us Americans are going to get to see it? Does when it comes out over there, does it come out here? Or like how does it usually work? What are they thinking? I know that you guys don't have a time yet.
I know what the plan was before this pandemic. The plan before this pandemic was for it to open in February next year, which is the 14th of February, which is Lucy's
Valentine's
birthday.
Day.
Valentine's Day, exactly.
Do you guys have the same Valentine's Day as us?
Yeah. Our Memorial Day is different now. Our Memorial Day is November the 11th because it was the armistice of the First World War. Your Memorial Day is May time, isn't it? End of May, something like that.
Yeah, and you guys don't have, but you guys don't really have Halloween though, right?
Yeah, but that's very American.
Yeah, because I was there during Halloween, and I remember there was
no.
I was in England during Halloween one time, and I remember there was no Halloween.
Yeah, we don't have Thanksgiving.
Well,
You
I
had
think
that,
that's
what do they
American.
call it, Black Monday, Black Friday, what's that one?
Oh, you still have that too?
Those loot in the shops?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that. They have that, but
When it comes to money like that, shopping, we have that. That's funny.
yeah.
So was
Absolutely.
it supposed to come out the same time here in America, or do we get delayed a little bit? I don't know how that works at all.
As far as I know, and please don't quote me on this, because as I say, it has changed. I assume it's
I know
changed,
that.
but
I know that.
it was February over
It
here.
come out
And
everywhere
then,
in February.
yeah, he
Okay.
wanted to have the premiere. He wanted to have the premiere on Lucy's birthday. He wanted that to be, the
Man,
premiere.
I
So
hope.
wherever it went from there. But whether or not now they'll finish that, I don't know. Whether that will finish on time. But one of the things that he has been talking about of late is making it a serial as well as a film, because he's got so much. Most screen. I mean, I'll give you an example. A play, a normal play where you maybe do an hour and a half or 2 hours on stage. On pages, that's only about 80 pages or 90 pages. Typically, a page is about a minute in real time if you're doing a script, right?
Right.
This script has grown from something like, I think it was about 130 pages. It's grown to about 300 odd pages. Because in the time that he's been doing the film, he's found out so much more. He's found so many more facts, so many things that people never knew. Little bits in newspapers and little bits, these old newspapers from the 1880s, and it's just gone absolutely. He's just prepped every little thing in, and he's now on about making it a series and as well as a film. So I think he's hoping for Netflix or someone like that to pick it up.
That is so awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this.
Wow, that's great to hear. I mean, it is starting to pick up. It is starting to get a following.
How is your career now, and like just in general? I mean, I don't know if most people doing theater like you're making a living off of it. How does that work now with the pandemic and everything happening? Did you guys get any type of aid? What are you guys doing?
No, I haven't got anything. One of the things but apart from the few days on the call sheets and that for this film, what's left for me on this film, I was supposed to be doing something in Plymouth, which is just down the road over the river in Devon, where the Mayflower sailed from. The Mount Mayflower that set off for the Americas. In actual fact, it was for the Mayflower celebrations. It was. It's called Drake 400 because this year it marks 400 years since Francis Drake went on the Mayflower and found America. It was one of the things that was part of the community thing for that, and it was all about Plymouth Argyle Football Club. And I was involved in that. I was just starting to get involved in that when everything just got closed down, and I don't know what's happening with that now. Rick O'Shea, the bloke who's written that, I think he's just started going back into entertainment because he's like a live entertainer. He does the clubs and the pubs, he does jokes, and he's really good because what he does is Bruce Springsteen, the boss, he does his records like as a backing track, but he writes songs that go in the tune. So like he writes these different songs and it's all about different places and different people, but he's just using the backing. He doesn't just use Springsteen, he uses other people, but he's a really clever songwriter, but he's an entertainer. He's a really, really good, but he's a terrific writer as well. I've done one of his plays. What was that called? Top of my head, I can't think what it was called, but yeah, I've done one of these plays. It was fantastic. It was really good. It was all about these two guys in a bowls club, and they're sitting there in their whites in the bowling green, and they're arguing about whether or not life was better 20 years ago than it is now, and it was quite good. It was very comedy-wise. It was very similar to Smith and Jones. Did you ever see Mel Smith and Griff Rhys Jones?
I'm familiar with.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. That was how he told us to play it. There's a lot of people that haven't been able to work and they haven't been able to go into the theatres, and even the cinemas now are just starting to open back up, but even, they're releasing films that should have been released months ago, so there's a big backlog there.
So do a lot of stage actors make a living off of it, or it just depends where they are?
It depends where you are. I mean, it's getting the right role. Okay.
So what I wanted to know, since you've been doing this for so long, have you met anybody that would be like, wow, whether you actually performed with someone or someone actually came to see you like that you were a fan of and you're like, wow, it was really impressive to me? Is there anybody that we would know or that was just really impressive?
There's quite a few. I mean, on the one of the ones I do remember that really stood out for me was the Frenton Summer Theatre. Roger Moore. I mean, he's passed away now. And
oh wow! When was this?
He was there one time, Frenton Summer Theatre, and because he weren't actually performing there. His mum lived there. His elderly mum, and he used to take her to the theatre. And I went there one time. I was chatting to Jack Watley, who was the bloke who started the Frenton Summer Theatre. Again, he's gone now, but he introduced me to Roger Moore, and I thought, wow. And I managed to get something for him to sign. I had one of my favourite film ever is a film called The Wild Geese, and it's the mercenaries in Africa, and he's in that. And I got a lobby card, like a theatre lobby card.
Oh, really?
And I'll get him to sign that for me.
That
was
so
great.
Cool.
But I'd say probably the one who's actually seen me perform that really stands out, and I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I should imagine you probably did, but a bloke called Rod Taylor.
Okay.
And Rod Taylor, he was in The Birds and The Time Machine and a couple of other great films.
I love those movies.
He actually saw me on stage once, and he come up to me and he said it was when I'd done, I think it was when I was doing Arsenic and Old Lace. And he come up to me afterwards and he said he really enjoyed it and all that. And I asked him for my
that had to be amazing. Oh my gosh!
So that was great. I mean, I bumped into a few over this. I'll tell you what. I mean, promoting things on radio, I've met quite a few, and I mean, I wouldn't name them, but there's some. I couldn't stand them. They were completely different from how you'd think they'd be, because they seemed so nice on the telly or so nice in the films. But because they were in a studio at the same time I was doing something, where I'm promoting something on the theatre, they've been sat next to me, or they've been in the waiting room, so to speak. And, I sort of think, oh, no, I wouldn't give you the time of day now, after the way you just spoke, or maybe the way they treat somebody who just brought them a cup of tea.
Were they really famous?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, reasonably famous. I'm not going to say who they were. Because
that's okay, you don't have to.
Trouble, but, some people do give the completely wrong impression in person. I can't stand people having an off day, but
I've interviewed quite a few celebrities, not on this platform, but on a different platform, and everyone that was really famous was really nice. And the people that had the attitudes were the people that you wouldn't even know their name. Like they were famous, but not that famous. But all the A-listers that I've ever met were really nice. Like Elizabeth Taylor, Elton John. Have you met Elton John? Isn't he your neighbor?
No, I've never met Elton John. No.
Maybe he'll make a song for your movie one time. He should make a ballad of Lucy Sands.
Yeah, we've got a songwriter for that. Is
it a lot of original music that you guys have been doing for that?
Yeah, there's original music. We've got a composer, and that's what I'm saying. Everything about it is completely original, in the sense of the story's never been told. No one's ever heard of Lucy Sands or this true story. As I say, we've got an ensemble cast. The musicians that are doing the score and a couple of songs are, not really that well known. Everything that's going. Even one of our cameramen, and he's an editor as well. He won an award last year for a best film trailer for a film that he has been working on, not this one, but another one. You know, he won an award for because he's put together the best trailer, like the Los Angeles Film Awards or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the award was, but the info's on the webpage, I believe, on our webpage.
Mark, how do you feel about ever coming out here to California and doing some acting? Is that something you've ever thought about?
To. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to. You know what would be great? I'd love to come to Tombstone, Arizona, and do Wyatt Earp. That would be great. That'd be great. I've already done that, so why not do it?
Yeah, why not do it
in the actual place where it happened? Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That really would be good.
And what I really want to know too, because now that you're in a biography, how do you feel about portraying somebody that was a real person? And is that something that you had a lot of experience with prior to this?
Well, Wyatt was real, so I had that experience. I've done a couple of other bits that were real stories, but yeah, there's no getting around this being a real story. And the big thing that's a big draw for me is we are all playing characters that nobody's ever played before, and yet they're real. As I say, this story, it's never been written in a book. It's never been on stage or even a radio play, or even it's never ever been told before. So every single person, whether that's the young girl playing Lucy, Leah Smith, or Tamsin Ford who's playing Maggie, the doctors. You know, we've got a couple of doctors, Stuart and James. Yeah, they're playing real people, but nobody has played them before. And this is what is so appealing about it. This isn't like this isn't Sherlock Holmes or Dracula or anything like that. The parts have never ever been done before. And that's the amazing thing about it. Not only that, but we've got the connections with the film as well, with Workington, with the place where it happened. We've even got connections to the families of the people involved, as in the descendants. We had a lady on set back in, I believe it was January, February. We had a lady on set who, Lucy was an orphan. Her father died, and then her mother died. And she was about 10 years old, and she was brought to Workington to live with her great aunt and her grandmother. And this great aunt and grandmother had a brother. So in other words, Lucy's great uncle. Now you follow that family tree from that great uncle into modern day, and there's people that have been in our film.
That is,
you know, I mean, it's not only that, but we've also got descendants of the family of the guy who supposedly done it. You know, there was a guy who they suspected to have actually done the murder. And if you go back up in his family tree to his grandfather and then across and then follow it down into modern day, we had a couple of people playing. Like, in actual fact, they played the policeman who brought him in. And they'd arrested him. You know, they brought him in.
That is so
and they brought him in
cool.
for an interview before the arrest. Yeah.
It's awesome that you guys found a lot of these descendants as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's Steve's hard work. There's the hard work of him where he's tried publicising it on radio and all that kind of thing as the film has progressed through the different stages of the creation.
Well, hopefully when the movie comes out, maybe I can interview him and the rest of the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure they'd all love to come on and do something. Yeah, I'm sure they would.
They're for their fans in America.
Yeah. It's a fascinating story, and one of the things that we have got is a photograph of Lucy herself. And to the best of anyone's knowledge, it's the last surviving photograph, and it's been our mascot all the way through the making of the film. It's like a little visitor card, as they used to call it. It's about 4 inches high, 2 inches across, and it is from a photography studio, and it's got the stamp of the photographer on the back. And not only that, but handwritten on the back of this card, it says Lucy Sands, and it's quite mesmerising to think this was given to the place, and whose handwriting is it? Theoretically, it could be the handwriting of the guy I'm playing. or one of my other team, where they've jotted it down and they're walking around town saying, when was the last time you saw this? When was the last time you saw this girl? And all that. And
wow. But we do have a murderer that is most likely the murderer, right? This isn't going to be one of those unsolved things that drive us nuts like Jack the Ripper, right?
No, it's not like Jack the Ripper. There is a murderer that is named in the film, and that's from Steve's research. I'm not going to reveal who. No,
that's fine. I just wanted to know because a lot of people get mad when there's no closure.
Yeah.
I want to know if we were going to have closure after seeing it, but you don't have to tell us what the closure is. I just want to know if there was closure.
Yeah. With the research that he's done, it's a theory. It's a theory,
but it's a strong one.
It's a very, very strong one.
That's good. That's all I need. That's good for me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mark. We're gonna follow you on everything. We're gonna follow your website, Facebook. Is it what you have a website or just it's all Facebook? You have a website and Facebook.
Not personally. No, I'm on Facebook personally. But I mean, if you want to talk about if you're talking about the film.
The film's website, that's what you sent me, okay.
That's what, it's called LucySands.com.
Okay. And then I Instagrammed you. I'm so glad we got you on Instagram finally.
Yeah, I'm on Insta. I did do Twitter, but I got fed up with Twitter because it was all nonsense on Twitter. I'm not doing it. It was just a waste of my time. Whereas what I'm trying to do with Instagram is I'm trying to keep it professional. I'm trying to put photos on just every other day. Something from the career, whether that's today or 10 years ago. I don't mind it. Whatever I'm finding, I'm sort of putting on and saying, this is me when I've done such and such years. I don't put pictures of my dinner on there or my dog, how people do with Facebook. But yeah, I mean, we've got a Facebook page for the film, which is it's called The Ballad of Lucy Sands. It's easy enough to find. But the best way is to go to the website and have a look at the website and watch the trailers. There's the trailers on there. One of the most amazing things is Lucy's monologue. It's absolutely incredible. It's 6 or 7 minutes.
I can't wait.
This monologue is absolutely incredible. Leah Smith, brilliant. That's the best place because from the website you'll find everything else. Rather than, I'm so excited.
I really hope this comes out in February because you got me so hooked on this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, Mark. You have some fans in America now. We're gonna follow you if you get a lot of.
Oh, thank you.
If you get a lot of my mutual friends or people that just be like, because we're just very fascinated by British culture and what you guys are doing over there.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a blast. It's been really good. And I've tried not to tell any jokes or anything like that. I'm quite known for telling jokes. You can always tell jokes on here. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right then. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.